line from our studio in Cape Town. Well, Lester, once again, not surprising, I suppose, the donating between the EFF and the ANC there for all to see. But what was interesting for me was the sort of half-hearted acknowledgement by the president of the big problem, the elephant in the room. And that is the fact that even though they have moved, they have made it clear that land expropriation without compensation is going to happen, but very little gets said about what critics and supporters of the ANC, it must be pointed out as well, have said about the fact that the government hasn't used what has been at its disposal, to good effect.
That's right for you. I think what stood out for me was that the president tacitly admitted that land expropriation without compensation is allowed in the current form of Section 25 of the Constitution, and that there has been a lack of political will to in fact exercise that and to test that in terms of forwarding a much rapid plan of land reform and land redistribution. You're very right in what you call the toenadering between the president as well as the EFF. Some very complementary tones coming from both President Ramaphosa and the EFF's Julius Malema, finding common ground on this issue of land expropriation without compensation. Where I find that they differed is when Malema asked the president whether he agrees with the EFF's policy that after land is expropriated, it should then go into the custodianship of the state to manage the land, and that then people will then obviously use and live on the land. The president seemingly has a different policy point of view than the EFF. The president saying that it's his belief that many, particularly poor South Africans, want something to call their own and to use a piece of land either for its symbolic purpose, or to use that as collateral in financing themselves, in going to the bank, using that land as collateral in taking out loans and to financially empower themselves. So that is where I found a schism between the ANC and the EFF. What was also interesting is the president speaking in Afrikaans to the Freedom from Plus's Pieter Groenewald, really speaking to the concerns of the white Afrikaans, particularly farming community. The president saying that what is needed in this overall debate in South Africa is issues regarding transformation, development and stability. And he tacitly warned the Freedom from Plus that if the vast majority of particularly black, poor and working class South Africans do not have themselves feel that their lives are being transformed, that they're being developed and that they are not stable, that could lead to political instability in the country. So really asking detractors of governments or the ANC's policy rather of land expropriation without compensation to look at the broader picture of an increasingly impatient, particularly black, poor and working class South Africans really wanting action when it comes to this very slow land reform process.
Now, Lester, of course, another issue that came up was the South Africa-China relations. DA leader Mmusi Maimane asking the president whether the government isn't selling the country for 6 pence. Well, those are not the words, of course, that Mmusi Maimane used.
That's right. The Mmusi Maimane, the Democratic Alliance leader, wanting some assurance from the president that South Africa would not be selling its resources or, in fact, selling its soul to the Chinese. This is after it's been reported that the China will be increasingly investing in South Africa. This, as the president himself is looking for direct foreign investment to help with these investment plans still looking for that 1 trillion rand of foreign investment, of which is his goal. But at the same time, the DA is increasingly worried on the impact that China could have on South Africa's foreign and domestic policy if they are so heavily invested in the country. Mmusi Maimane effectively wanting the president to come to Parliament to tell exactly where he is getting the money from in order to finance his investment goals here. The president's response is that they are government, that he is in charge of the executive, and that it's his task to manage these affairs on behalf of South Africans. So effectively telling Mmusi Maimane to rather trust him and that he would always put South Africa's interests first, but at the same time going out to the international markets and looking for direct foreign investment, which the country sorely needs.
Okay, let's leave it there for now.